What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to continue working on the golf buggy. As you guys might have seen in the last video, I got this roof put on, so that's just sitting there. The back's all bolted up, but we need to do the front. So the first thing I'll do today is chuck a couple of bolts to the front, and then I'll give you guys an update on the motor. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is drill a hole through here. I'll bolt this side and then I'll replicate it on that side, so it's all nice and square. Alright, so now I've got that hole drilled. It's through the steel and it's through the fiberglass, so hopefully that should seal up. I do have a rubber O-ring that goes on top that did come with the other brackets, so I'll put that on and that should keep any water from dripping down. So it's all bolted up. As you can see, these two beams are slightly different angles. I do have to try and bend them myself with no bench or anything, but it's worked well. So I've got little rubber grommets underneath and they've all bolted up at the top. This thing is pretty solid, but I will be replacing this in the future, guys. As I said in the last week's video, it just doesn't fit right and it's not wide enough, but it will keep the seat dry for now while it's out in the weather. Yeah, so the next thing I'll do, I'll give you guys an update on that motor, how I've been going with that. Alright guys, so with the motor, as you saw in last video, I did pull that off. So that's here, the armature inside. I've pressed that off the shaft, so I did that during the week at work. So here's the shaft here. So basically what I had to do was dismantle the brush area, so I took that off. And then there was just a heap of windings and stuff, so I cut them off. You've got to be really careful you don't nick the shaft. So I was lucky enough I didn't damage it at all. So I cut those both off and pressed it out with the press. And what I did, I went to the local bearing supplier and they sold me a little Boss, so that adapts onto the gear. Now this is a 16 tooth gear, that's the smallest I could get for this shaft. I did try and get a lot smaller, but that's the best I could get. It is an industrial chain, so that's different from the actual motorcycle chain that I've got from that pit bike. So we'll be running two different sorts of chains. But that's okay. So what we'll be able to do is we'll put this on there and fix this on. The motorbike will run back to the exact same size onto a jack shaft, and then we'll play from the jack shaft to here. We'll play with the gearing to try and get it nice and fast and sort of torquey in the same sort of range. So with this I do need to add a keyway onto this shaft, so I'll have to try and figure something out there, or I did suggest you could tack weld it on, but I don't really want to do that because it's sort of more permanent then. There is two grub screws, I might be able to tighten them down and fix that. But the next thing I want to do is actually, I picked up this bearing as well while I was there, so that goes in the back of this case. So what I'm going to do, I was going to just put this on the differential and put a bearing on the end, but I've decided to go with what most people do and use the original motor, and you just cut out a little access hole in the side and run your chain through there onto your sprocket. So that'll make sure that this shaft is nice and running true all the time. And it'll just keep it sort of nice and neat, so I don't have to run any more bearings and weld more to that swing arm and stuff. So I think what we'll try and do now is press out, or sort of hit out these windings. I think I might be able to get them out, I'm not too sure, but yeah, we'll try and make some room in there. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try and press this out. I just got a hammer and chisel here, I don't have a press or anything yet, so I'll try and hit that down so we can make some room inside. So that'll obviously be where our sprocket and that's spinning, so we'll put our chains on. Alright, so I got that all done there, that's all hammered out. One thing I did forget to do was there's little metal tabs here to hold the back brush plate on. So that's them there. So if you are doing the same sort of thing, make sure you sand them off first, because they will give you a bit of grief once you get down to the bottom and it won't go any further. So this is the inside of the windings. Now it does suck that I had to wreck a good motor. I have actually found out that they're worth quite a good bit of money, but you can't find this adapter anywhere. Well, I can't find it anywhere here in Australia. This 19 spline adapter, you can buy them from overseas, but it would take weeks to get here, possibly months. And this is just a perfect shaft to give us to bolt anything onto. I was going to put a brake caliper on here, but I'll put that on the jack shaft, I reckon. So this will be nice, it'll go in here, and then this will bolt up to our rear diff, and that'll go inside like that. And we'll have to just cut out a little access hole. But this retainer plate will still be used, so we'll put that on the back, tap the bearing in, and we've got the little retainer for the bearing so it never comes out. And this plate's held on by through bolts going all the way through. So yeah, I'll have to get some sort of shaft from in the middle on its way, so I'll have to get 2 pillow bearings and something to hook that up, and then we can start mounting up the motor. So with this shaft I might get a keyway cut into it, just depending on how much that's going to cost. I don't think I'll ever change this sprocket, but it'll probably just be, you know, it's the smallest one I can get here locally, so it was actually pretty cheap, this little hub. It was about 20 bucks for that and the sprocket, so that's pretty cheap. So this is just on a little taper, it sort of fits on, so I think you have to tack weld that, but that's alright, we can manage that. But yeah, so I'll have to get that jack shaft on its way, and I'll get some other sprockets and stuff so we can really gear this thing up, or really gear it down depending on what it needs. But I can't really cut an access hole into this motor yet because I don't know where anything's going to line up, so we sort of have to get the motor in and weld all that up, but I do need all the other parts for that. Alrighty guys, so that's going to be all for today's video. Thanks for watching. So it's good to get a couple of little things done. I know today's video was a little bit short, but got the motor done and the roof's all done now, so I don't have to worry about that. I will be adding a roof light bar at the top, so let me know what you guys reckon down below. Might even have one down the bottom, we'll just see how we go. I will be running some sort of car battery in this thing, and we'll obviously have some lights at the back with the tray and all that. Yeah, let me know if you guys reckon we should put a bull bar on this thing. I did mention it a couple of weeks ago, so if any of you guys are good with CAD drawing, I can send you a photo of the front, and yeah, maybe you guys can draw up something for me, so that'd be really good. But yeah, jump over to Instagram for an inside scoop before YouTube, so post there a lot, and smash that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything, and we'll see you in the next one.